Good morning or good afternoon, I'm not sure, at 12. Welcome to this session, which is called Less is Better. I was wondering if it was possible to say less is better, but we have 1 hour to explain to you what does it mean. And of course, we are going to speak about composite materials, and which are high mechanical component materials. And how can we produce today and tomorrow materials which have a high performance but with lower cost, same quality, and also a better environmental impact. So I have the pleasure with me to welcome a few speakers. I need to go to the next page, but they will come with me. We have Cyril Camus, who is the Sales Marketing Director from Siemens, and he will introduce you a bit more. We have Alexandre Hamelin, who is the CIO, the Chief Innovation Officer of Coriolis, and the founder of Coriolis. We have Marcus Clemens, from the CTO of Airborne. Merlin Theodore from Oak Ridge Research Center in the US. Last but not least, Julie Wodour, which is the Deputy Head of Research of DAER. And I'm Raphaël Plenet, I'm the Managing Director of ECIA, which is the European Composite Industry Associations. So welcome the speakers, and you can have a seat. Thank you. So I think we will do a small tour de table first. You have the microphone in front of you, and maybe we can start from Cyril. You are next to me, so maybe you have a short introduction about you and Siemens, which is...
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Cyril Camus, Siemens, France. Nice to meet you. So Siemens is a leading company in technology, covering many sectors like industry, infrastructures, transportation, as well as healthcare. So sustainability is a key topic at Siemens, a daily topic, I would say, in our daily business, and particularly in the industry field and in machine tool systems, I am in charge of for France. And we help our customers to transform their daily business by combining digital and the real and digital worlds in terms of also sustainability.
Thank you, Cyril. And Julie, that's your turn on the floor.
Hello, everybody. So I come from DAER. So DAER is a big French family group. We are especially work on the aerospace activity, and for that we have 4 main activities. So we are an aircraft manufacturer. We manufacture our own aircraft, TBM and Kodiak. We manufacture also some aerostructure, composite aerostructure and metallic one. And we have some activities on logistics and services around aerospace activities.
Thank you, Julie. So now it's turn of Marcus.
Yes, Marcus Kramer, CTO from Airborne. We have 2 activities. We supply automated manufacturing systems, digital automation, so a lot with smart software so that the robots can program themselves. Fully focused on composite manufacturing. We also manufacture composite parts. That's our legacy. I've been doing that for 25 years. In aerospace, but also micromobility and other industries. So we have both activities, automation and part manufacturing.
Thank you, Marcus. Merlin?
Hi, my name is Merlin Theodore. I am from Oak Ridge National Lab, which is the largest Office of Science national laboratory in the US. I represent the carbon fiber technology facility under the Manufacturing Science Division, where we develop scale-up technologies for advanced fibers manufacturing and components. And we also help industry partners overcome the challenges associated with carbon fiber manufacturing. Thank you.
Thank you, Marin. And last, Alexander.
Hi, I'm Alexander Hamelin. I'm a Coriolis founder. I'm leading the innovation topic for Coriolis. So few words about Coelis. We are a digital company. We are providing robotic solutions to do fiber placement for composites. And we also developed the whole software suite to allow our customer to design the part made with this process and to do some virtual simulation and process simulation. And we also provide some support, engineering support, to help our customer to choose the best material and to find the best machine parameters to produce the part.
Thank you, Alexandre. So, you know, this conference is about sustainability, manufacturing, and these two words, maybe we are wondering if it works together. So I don't know if one of you would like to start, but is it possible to combine these two words, sustainability, manufacturing? Who would like to start? Oh, okay.
I can start if you
Go ahead,
want.
Julie. Yes, please.
Okay. So today we can consider it that composites are considered as sustainable because they allow lightening of aerostructure. In my case, today they are trying to optimize the consumption of energy during the manufacturing, implement some digital technologies, for example. But in my point of view, if we want to make the difference tomorrow in terms of manufacturing, we need to change composite materials and processes and use ones of them which can propose some reduced energy consumption during the manufacturing and some composite material which can reduce waste or which could be recyclable.
Thank you very much. So yes, that's more about new technology, new material, and reduce energy.
Yes, I
That's
think
easy going.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Marcus?
Yeah, I think it's a must. I was recently talking to an expert and he explained to me that if you take all the CO2 emissions in the world, about 55% is related to making products. For me, that was interesting because it's a large part. We always think about less fuel consumption, but making parts is important part of the CO2 emission. So we need to make it more sustainable, of course, with better materials, more sustainable materials, but of course every material needs to be converted. So manufacturing, it's not a question, is it possible? It needs to become possible. And of course, it's then less energy consumption, less waste is also very important to use the right materials for the performance. So for me, that's all combined what sustainable manufacturing is.
Thank you. Yes, you bring also this less waste material is also an important point. Maybe from the angle of Oak Ridge, Marilyn? Yeah.
Sure. I think we can associate sustainability with manufacturing by adopting sustainable manufacturing processes.
If I just the microphone maybe
Can you
closer.
hear me? Yes.
Okay.
I think we can associate sustainability with manufacturing by adopting sustainable manufacturing processes that reduces waste, reduces negative environmental impacts, and also efficient uses of our resources. And we can do so by implementing energy efficient and cost efficient manufacturing technologies, reusing and recycling waste streams from manufacturing processes, and using more user-friendly environmental raw materials. And we can also do so by implementing waste reduction technologies such as Lean Six Sigma technologies.
Thank you very much, Marilyn. So we can, Alexandre?
About fiber placement, so by Coelis we do fiber placement machines. So the main benefit of this technique is that the robot allowed you to place the right material at the right place with a good orientation. So that means for lightweighting, it gives the best performance for the parts. The other benefit is that there is no scrap at the end because the robot places only the material when it needed. So that's, I would say, for sustainability, that's the main benefits. Also, we check that our processes are compatible with new materials, so I would say like thermoplastic prepregs and two more materials like natural fibers. And we also provide the software that will allow the designer to optimize the design of the part to make it lightest as possible. Another important topic is that we use low energy consumption robots. We do not use heavy machine. We use lightweight robotics, so we try to make our effectors as light as we can. so to reduce the energy consumption when you produce the parts.
Thank you very much. And Cyril, you would like to add something?
Yeah, just would like to add that we are helping our customers, specifically the machine manufacturers, using more and more energy efficient components like motors, drives. We are working on the main drive side, on the auxiliary aggregates as well, using frequency converters for various speed aggregates, for example, using also energy efficient power electronics, as well as motors, up to efficiency up to 99% if possible. And last but not least, we are trying to reduce also the chipless on the machines by using engineering platforms to manage hibernation of the machine tools, at least of some machine auxiliary aggregates.
Okay, so it confirms we have the good group to address the question of sustainable manufacturing. And I wanted to, if you can tell us a bit of the major driving force to address it, and also, is the market ready today to recognize in terms of product value about what you are working on altogether? So maybe, Cyril, if you want to start on this.
As I said, we help our customers with energy efficient components. There are some regulations on the market, so we are also fulfilling this regulation in terms of energy saving, energy efficiency. We are working a lot on the data as well. So digitization, automation for sure, but also digitization is a key, I would say, to manage or to meet this sustainability in the composite manufacturing. And intelligent use of the data means also we are focusing highly on the digital twins. Digital twins means also working, for example, on the job preparation on a machine. This is working on the PC and not only on the machine. So this is also some energy savings. So we are really focused on that. And I think the market is already ready on that.
Very good. Good news. And maybe Merlin, if you would like.
Can you repeat the question for me? It's hard
Sure.
for me to hear from you.
It's the driving force towards innovation in sustainable manufacturers. And the second point is today the market ready to recognize in terms of product value.
I think some of the driving force to innovation in sustainable manufacturing today is the growing demand for sustainable materials and manufacturing processes. I also think that there is cost savings and benefits that can be realized by manufacturing partners. I think also that there is government regulations and policies that are enabling the encouragement of using sustainable manufacturing processes, as well as consumer awareness and concerns for environmental impact from industrial activities. I think that consumers are more attracted to companies that have a sustainable manufacturing organization because of the benefits that they can generate or be translated to the consumers.
Okay, thank you very much. So now the other question is, of course, the trade-off between performance and sustainability. How do you manage the steps to achieve it and to ensure that both parameters are optimized? So maybe Marcus.
Yeah, that's a good question. So in many cases, I think current designers are optimizing for the traditional requirements like strength, stiffness, thermal insulation, fire resistant, that kind of properties. I think it's important to start putting in the design process also sustainability and then make it very concrete with how much CO2 emission will you generate with this product. So can you design it better with different materials, different processes, and are you able to calculate it also in a relatively easy way? And I know with OCI you are developing the eco-calculator, so my tip would be to everybody check out the eco-calculator because there's a lot of data already available and more data needs to come. So the more easy it will be made to assess different concepts on sustainability, the better it is, Because in my experience, current LCAs are very quickly very complicated, and then it's, yeah, people don't do it. So I think that's an important factor to really design for sustainability, taking manufacturing solutions into consideration.
Thank you very much. And maybe Julie, you can complete on this.
Yes, so in there, to be sure we have a good balance between performance and sustainability, we implement a special strategy when we develop some new aerostructure parts. So first, we identify and invest in thermoplastic and thermoset solution, which presents a good sustainability potential. In the second time, we recreate that design and material and process engineer collaborate all together at the beginning of the project when we design the part to be sure that the design engineer implement the good material and the good processes at the beginning. And at the end, we collaborate with our customer to be sure that the material and the processes we are choice are the good one to be certified tomorrow for the future aircraft.
So it means when you have a customer project, you from day one you work on the complete project, how to have in this eco-conception. We'll come back on this later on, but it is really a teamwork.
Yes, it's a team between a customer, so there, and a potential other supplier, like a machine supplier or material supplier, and we try to work all together to define the best solution. So the customer arrived with these requirements on the special product, and after that we developed the product. And now, yes, the sustainable requirements is more and more important than yesterday.
That's clear. Thank you very much. Okay, so thank you for this, I would say, overall introduction. And I think which is also very important for the audience is maybe if we can go more on some sharing experience and best practice. So can you share any things you have learned up to now in terms of experience to develop or to implement a sustainable journey, I would call it, in yours? So maybe Alexandre, you can start on this.
Well, I would say by Coris, we experienced, we tested, we tried to handle new materials, bio-source materials. So trying to lay down linen fiber or flax fiber, even if the market is not yet here today. So we just want to be sure that our machines are compatible with these future materials. So that's one sustainable experience we experience. Another topic is that we are also experiencing a new virtual solution to monitor the machine and to check the machine consumption in terms of energy. So that's something we can do now before producing the parts. So thanks to some software provided by Siemens. So we can do some virtual manufacturing and anticipate the energy consumption that will be done to produce the part.
Okay, thank you. And maybe Mark. No. Yeah, sure.
I can add something. I think material formats and materials are very important, what you mentioned, because I think a change is coming. A lot of new materials are being developed. If you walk through the show, natural fibers, recycled fibers, other formats. Natural fibers, sometimes people forget that natural fibers grow, so they're discrete in length. Recycled fibers are discrete in length, so of course you can make them continuous, but there are also other ways of processing. So for us as a machine builder, and that's the same for Coriolis, you need to think about, is the technology ready for the future? And the future, I think, will come quicker than we anticipate. At Airborne, we're currently working on testing these new materials to see if we can process them and turn them into products and show it to customers, because then they also think about other ways of making products. So that's, I think, very important to help each other and create new ideas how to do it in a different way with different materials. So that's the work we are doing on. And we're also, what you're saying, trying to measure the energy of the machines, but then try to also calculate immediately what the CO2 emission is. Depends on the energy mix, which is changing daily. But if you connect that, you can really see what's happening during the production process.
Thank you very much. So we ask now what I think which also everybody is expecting is how to measure the progress, because if you don't measure, you don't progress. And so what are the KPIs or the metrics you have already available, and how did you implement that? So maybe Marcus, you can keep the floor, and then
Yeah, so for us, waste management is important. We've developed a technology called automated ply placement. So it's different than fiber placement, but inherently there is waste in the process. So for us, a very important metric is to reduce the waste by better nesting, by reusing the waste maybe in a secondary product. So for every project we calculate and optimize this waste as a very important KPI.
Okay. And Cyril, maybe you would like to say a few words on that?
Some metrics for us is, I would say, quite simple. Is we see the trend today to go for digitization in terms of what our solution concerns. Digitalization means not only digital twin of the machine, digital twin of the components. We are capable to do this today, but also the intelligent use, I would say, of data. Means providing some platforms, for example, for some camera-based protection solutions, machine protection solutions based also on the data, as well as adaptive controls. This is also something we are promoting on the market. So these are some metrics.
Thank you. And Marin, I would like to also to ask the question to you, because in our previous discussion, I know you are research. You represent a research center, and how, in your role as a research center, you can also help us in terms of metrics. Because we were talking about LCA, I thought that the discussion would be interesting, which is one of the metrics probably.
Okay, so coming from a research institute, which is managed by the Department of Energy, our ultimate goal in our research and development initiatives is to reduce cost and energy of advanced manufacturing technologies. And with that results in reduction in waste, environmental impact, what have you. So in our everyday research approach, we are intentional in achieving goals for reducing waste, energy, and costs.
Okay, thank you very much. So, do you have any case studies or already experiences you would like to share? Yeah,
Absolutely. Again, being a national laboratory, and we have an integrated strategic approach where we work with everyone across the supply chain, from raw material suppliers to equipment vendors to a wide range of end users. We recently executed 2 projects that resulted in the birth of industries. The first one being a project in the birth of Carbon Rivers, which is a new company that was formulated from a joint collaborative project with Oak Ridge National Lab. And in that project, we developed technologies where we can take wind turbine scrap blades, repurpose the fiberglass from those blades to make automotive parts. So that's one example. Another example is working with Vartega company, where we develop technologies for recycling pre-preg scrap, again, for repurposing and reclaiming the carbon fiber from that scrap for making automotive parts as well.
I love the security here. Yeah, that's good. Okay, thank you very much, Merlin. So, Alexandre, if you have any studies.
So the question was about the KPI or how to monitor, or no, it's sharing an experience?
Any case studies or something, an example of success on that?
Well, Up to now, well, the case study is mainly by colleagues to monitor the machine where for the energy consumption, because the process itself do not generate any scrap. So the main issue as a machine builder is to monitor the machine when we produce the parts and find the best machine parameters to reduce this energy consumption. So that's one topic. The other topic is to reduce the machine footprint, because footprint in the factory of the future is more and more important. So we try to optimize the machine design to reduce the footprint itself, and also the machine itself. We try to select some components, motors, and heating devices, in which energy consumption is minimized as possible.
Thanks. Any other relevant examples, Julie? Yes.
Yes, for example, in there we develop a special recycling process, for example, for thermoplastic composites. You can see that on our booth in all 6. And yes, I think it's a success, and every customer today are very interested in this process. It's a good solution to recycle scrap and perhaps tomorrow the product at the end of life.
That's great. Very good example. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we have, of course, the challenges to be sustainable in manufacturing. And that would be interesting if you could share with us all the barriers as to be overcome or you already had to address. So all of you, if you want to continue, Julie. Right?
Yes, okay.
Yeah, sure.
So yes, as I said, for me, to make the difference in terms of sustainability for composite, we need to change material and processes. So for that, first, we need to develop materials and processes with good potential. We need to certify and qualify them in aerospace. It's complicated. And we need to implement this new solution in our production with good machine. And we found some solution to reduce energy consumption. So to do that, tomorrow I think we need some engineers for that. We need some composite experts. And the key, I think, is to attract tomorrow young people in composite. And I think if the composite became greener, I think we can attract easily some young people, because young people are very sensitive to environmental aspects.
That's also a very important topic.
Yeah, I think one of the barriers is we are all technology people, basically. So I think there are much more technologies already available. So how to get them used? And I think one important barrier is always the economic barrier. So there are many technologies which are not economically viable today, which are more sustainable. So if you think about it, that doesn't make sense, right? So we need end customers to basically put more pressure on the whole supply chain. We need government to also have better regulations so that we as technology people can develop the right technologies and then also bring it to the market. So I think there's a big blocker there. And also what I said, the adoption of new material formats is, I think, important. Everybody is, of course, reluctant to change, but we really need to make steps there and find the first applications, and then things will go better.
So that's the today innovation could be one of the barriers will be the cost of today, but if you have a longer term view, that will match. Okay, yeah, sure. Okay.
So I have few factors that can impact that. One is the cost. To implement or establish sustainable manufacturing processes, there may be some investment required to do so. I think there's also a lack of awareness and knowledge to the industry partners as far as the benefits of enabling or establishing sustainable manufacturing processes. I also think that there are regulatory and policy barriers, as you just mentioned, the lack of some environmental regulations. I think supply chain, again, is also a challenge because of the lack of sustainable materials and processes again. And I also think that some industry partners is just resistant to change because, again, they're not aware of the benefits that they can achieve from enabling a sustainable manufacturing organization.
Thank you very much. But of course, the point of regulation is important, and to demonstrate also I can understand the difficulty to demonstrate the benefit in front of the major investment, which is not an easy challenge.
Well, I would say the same. Its main barrier is the economic, because when we talk about competition, metal solution, and we talk to the customer, they said, okay, we are always more expensive than metallic solution, but we are lighter. So it's when you use the car or the plane that then you see the benefits. So I would say that we should push the regulation and the regulators to push to some regulation to push some lightweight solution at the end. So it's more economics.
Yeah, I had one thing to add. Actually, you pointed out the supply chain. I think transparency in the supply chain is important. If what you would like to have is something like a digital passport or more information about the materials, so that you can use it in manufacturing. If there's a defect, if you know upfront the defect is coming, you can handle that better. Or if you know what the environmental impact is of a certain material, it's better. So, but right now I feel that people are holding the information to themselves a bit too much. So the more transparency we can get jointly, I think the better it is to jointly improve sustainability.
I like the transparency of the supply chain. And I don't know if you have anything to add, no. But to come back to this point, which is the next. Do you think how is important that there is a supply chain and working all together to address the problem? It's in your experience. What are the results of this involving the whole supply chain from supplier, manufacturers, customers? It's almost what you started to say on the design, but I think it's what you call also the transparency of the supply chain. That I think is an important thing. So I don't know if you have any comments on this?
Yeah, well, I think, sorry, you want, no, you
Go first.
No, I think it's in the end, I think the end customer that needs to basically enforce it. If you look to a typical supply chain, end customers are large companies and the material providers are large companies. And in between, you have smaller companies, some are bigger than others. So I think the two ends of the supply chain should try to drive this and find a way how to share more information. But I think in the end customer is king. So they need to, let's say, enforce this throughout the whole supply chain. And you see it happening, but it could go quicker in my view.
You are saying end customer, but maybe we could say end users, because it's probably where starting the loop or ending the loop. I don't know, but I think it's the change of the mentality on all the steps. Okay.
Yeah, just to add something, as we are machine equipment supplier, it's important for us to work with the whole supply chain, and not only the machine provider, but also the end customers, the end users, as you said, as we are also promoting some solutions in terms of also usability of the machine means and regarding our equipment, and typically regarding turning off the machines or turning off some aggregates of the machines. There is also modes that can be activated on the controllers, for example, during braking phase or during just periods without use of the machines. This is something that can be activated also directly from the controller of the machine, and this is as well, and therefore this is important for us also to work with the complete supply chain. And once again, not only with the manufacturers.
Thank you, Cyril. Yeah. Julie,
About transparency, I think it's important to identify where on which subject we need to work. What causes most energy consumption? Or is it when you manufacture some carbon fiber? Is it when you impregnate the prepreg? Is it when you manufacture the part? It's very important to identify the subject on which we have to work to be able more sustainable. I think.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Merlin, yes.
So I would like to add to that. I think supply chain transparency is critical in the research and development world for identifying technology gaps and also for sparking innovation and ideas addressing those gaps.
Very important point. Okay, so now let's maybe the last part of our conversation before we take the question from the audience is the future. You know, from now to the future, because I think we are also here to we are addressed where we are today, but so how do you see the future of sustainable composite manufacturing in the next 5 to 10 years, if it's possible to go that far? What are the, the major role the technology will play in this? So, yeah, go ahead.
I think composites are more and more essential to reduce structural weight. And like that, composite permit to reduce consumption energy during transport, like aircraft, automotive, and also. But reduce energy during transport is no longer enough, I think. And we have to do that also for the manufacturing of composites. I think this is a big challenge of the 5, 10 next year.
That's for sure. Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to comment on this?
Yeah, I think in the future, as more technologies are being developed in sustainable manufacturing, it will be more widely adopted. I think companies will be more interested in adopting the circular economy concept. I also think that there will be more of a use in recycled materials and renewable materials as well. And also the use of digitalization as well as elements of Industry 4.0, such as AI and machine learning or what have you, to help optimize and reduce costs and energy in manufacturing processes.
That's passionate future for that, yeah. Alexandre, you...
Well, the future for Corellis is well to make the composite more circular, so being able to handle carbon fiber coming from recyclable plants, and also to make the factory more passive, I would say, or more sustainable. So it's not only the machine itself, but it's the whole factory. So being able to design and to support our customer in designing a passive factory is maybe the future, yeah, for us, for Corellis.
After the transparency of the supply chain, I really like the passive industry. That's a good one. Yeah. Thank you very much. Who else? Marcus?
Yeah, I think materials. I think if you walk around here, also Startup Booster, there are very nice examples of new materials. So recycling and bio-based. I think there are a lot of things will change. New polymers basically are coming to the market. So that's exciting, and we all need to think how to process them. And also, you made me think. I think what we see now, and at least in our case, you build a machine and that's for certain use. But yeah, we use robotics like Corellis is doing, and yeah, you can, after a certain production program, you can reuse it for something else. So factories or machines that you can readapt to the needs instead of just buying a new one, which might be economically more attractive, but just reusing what you have is, I think, an important thinking that we will have in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, also, in terms of reuse machines, suggesting some retrofitting of machines, of existing machines, instead of building a brand new machines each time. Probably could be also something interesting, as well as upgrade services or long-time repair services. This is some solutions we are providing also on our equipment for machines.
Very good. Okay. So thank you very much. Then somewhere it's the letter to the Santa Claus, but I would be interesting. What do you expect from the governments, and also in terms of regulations, to help and to really implementing the sustainability manufacturing? Maybe Marine, you would like to comment on this?
So I think the government can play critical roles here. I think, for one, they can offer incentives. I think for manufacturing industry partners, it's the what's in it for me. if I enable sustainable manufacturing methodology, what do I get? I think also they can establish maybe some certification programs that can help accelerate and verify the sustainable manufacturing materials and processes. I also think, of course, they can provide funding for more research and development opportunities, encouraging companies to innovate sustainable manufacturing processes as well.
That's quite real. Thank you very much. And Julie, you have the same list? Or?
No, what can I say that in France today, several programs support sustainable composite research in France through, for example, CORAC or ADEME. And that is for the decarbonization of aviation. And they participate on this kind of collaborative project. So I think in France we have a good support for that because decarbonize the aircraft tomorrow is not an option. We need to do that.
Okay, thank you very much. So it's not really the letter to the Santa Claus, right, Corey? Because it's quite real what you are mentioning. The last things before we go to the questions is about what eco-conception or eco-design. You already touched the subject a little bit earlier, but how do you see this and how important it is today in your experience? So maybe Cyril, if you want to take, or someone else would like to. Yeah,
well,
sure,
maybe
Alexandre.
for Coelis, as I said, we already supply the software to allow our customer to design the best part to be produced with our robots. So side to that, we are also we will provide tomorrow in the software the energy consumption that will be used to produce the parts. That it means the user will be able to assess different design with the energy consumption as an indicator. It's not only lightweighting, it's not only the price, but it's also the energy consumption. So that's something we aim to provide tomorrow.
Okay. No? Very good. So any other impact on the eco-conception?
I would complement that indeed what I said in the beginning, to implement CO2 emission calculations or LCA, simplified LCA in the design phase is, I think, very, very important. What Alexander mentioned is something that what we need to provide is industry insights, and then hopefully the designers can take it on board to reduce for the lowest CO2 emission.
Thank you very much. Now I'm going to ask you a very last one. It's kind of pitch of today. Each of you, if you can say something about sustainability manufacturing, if we have to remember something on your opinion, what is the most important? We can go whatever on the list. Okay. Cyril, you're the winner. You can start.
Thank you. So basically, at Siemens, we are convinced that automation, digitization, and intelligent use of the data are really key to meet this challenge. We have integrated these all things in our whole portfolio of equipment, if it is a machine tools, if it is a machine PLC driven, and for sure, just short one in terms of eco-consumption, our basic consumption, our ecologic, for every kind of product, not only our products, but also our factories are working, our production flow as well. So this is the three key, I would say, KPIs or topics we are working on.
Okay, thank you very much. So a quick one, Julie.
Yeah, for me, the key tomorrow is really to define and develop the good technology to achieve a sustainable composite and take into account that during the design of the part. I think it's very important. And after that, implement good machines in production plant and develop recycle for the composite. I think this is the key to be more sustainable tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Marcus?
Yeah, my tip would be think about new material formats like recycled materials and the bio-based materials. Especially on recycled materials, we do quite a bit in our company. So in our booth, Hall 5, you can see some examples how we can process recycled materials directly into a laminate. And that would be my tip.
Very good, thanks.
Hi. As a research facility, I think it is critical, again, to work with everyone across the supply chain and have an integrated vision. I think also we should be intentional in our metrics and then also in our requirements for using and obtaining sustainable metrics. I think that could definitely be a driver in enhancing sustainable manufacturing technologies and research and development.
Thank you very much, Marlene. Yeah.
Yes, and I would say that for Coelis, sustainability is already the main argument. So it will become more and more important. So, well, also you're welcome at our booth to see our sustainable solution, and we will try to support our customer in this way.
Thank you very much, all of you. That was really, I think, a good debate. And we have a few minutes now for the question from the audience. So some microphone around. So just introduce yourself and ask your questions.
Hello, this is Saeed Ali from CPI, Composite Pipe Industry from Oman. My question is specifically to Ms. Marlene. Do you think that composite material is more sustainable in certain region, keeping in mind that some region having more aggressive environment where they can affect the metallical products? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. I think it is, but again, I think it's a geographic thing. I think it also depends on the government regulations and policy in the different regions. It can vary from region to region, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who else? Raise your hand. Oh, okay.
Thank you. It's Stella Jobe from Graysbrook Innovation. I also have a question for Merlin. I worked on Fly Zero, which was a big UK project developing hydrogen-powered aircraft. And from our life cycle assessment, we found that about 93% of the embodied energy of the aircraft was in the upstream material supply chain, only 7% in part manufacturing. And the material with the largest single impact was carbon fiber. Now, of course, the carbon fiber is very useful because it's reducing fuel, but as the impact of fuel production and emissions goes down, that becomes much more significant. And I wondered, what are the key areas of research to reduce the energy in carbon fiber manufacturing?
Thank you for that question. So at Oak Ridge National Lab, because half of the cost in carbon fiber manufacturing is in the raw material, 90% of our research initiatives is in identifying renewable or lower cost raw materials. And the other half is in the capital and energy, which relates to the equipment. So we're also developing advanced conversion processes that uses lower energy and cost as well. So we're attacking the cost challenge in carbon fiber manufacturing from both sides: lower cost, lower efficient renewable materials, as well as lower cost and energy efficient manufacturing processes.
Thank you, Marine. Who else has a question to the speakers? Raise your hand. Okay.
Yusuf Shahabi, I'm a research engineer at JEC in aerospace. I've got quite a controversial question. Is there a trade-off between lightweighting and sustainability, as we're seeing propulsion systems are moving towards battery and hydrogen-based, which are heavier? Will a design for sustainability drive us to prolonging parts that we manufacture over trying to lightweight?
Would like to take? Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. Of course, if all the new ways for aviation to go to sustainable aviation, like hydrogen or battery electric, are inherently more heavy. You need more equipment in the aircraft, especially batteries. So lightweighting becomes more important even. So I think there lightweighting and sustainability go in parallel. But I think you're also right. If you think about the carbon fiber, was mentioned by Stella, is that the carbon fiber has a lot of CO2 embedded. So that's what I mentioned also by using the right materials. Can you use a little bit less carbon and use other materials, maybe in a hybrid solution to reduce the embedded CO2? Because not always you need carbon fiber. Of course, it would be better if new carbon fiber would be developed with less CO2. That would be very good. So I think sometimes it's in parallel, especially with battery electric or a hydrogen aircraft, but sometimes it can be the other way around.
Very good. Who else? Oh, no, there is a question here.
Hello, everyone. I'm Desiree Baudic, working for the sustainability team at Safran. Thank you to all of you for your very interesting interventions. I have quite a broad question. As you mentioned, Julie, in the introduction, the first step when we want to reduce our CO2 emission or the CO2 emission of our products is to make an assessment to see where are the CO2 emissions at which step of the process. And we have various tools to make it. But on one side, we have databases that are not always very extensive, very accurate. And on the other side, we have complicated softwares, tools, which can be tricky to use. And you also mentioned, Marcus, the LCA analysis, which when is done completely is really a hard part. We cannot perform complete LCA for all our products, at least for now. So how can we deal with the idea of having a common tool, a common assessment, a common method to assess these elements? And I think that this point also is also linked with the idea of the supply chain transparency, because of course when you're the final customer, you want to know this information for all of the steps in the value chain, in the supply chain. So how can we get this kind of common tool and common way to assess CO2 emission of products and of materials in particular?
So it's how to aggregate the different steps in one tool. That would be the question. Do you have?
Well, I think OSIA is a good part of the solution because was mentioned before, the eco-calculator developed by OSIA. So that's a European trade association for composites, and Richard is the managing director. So it gives you the life cycle analysis, so more than just CO2, also the other factors for composite materials. So it's very focused. Personally, I find it very handy and easy to use. And it goes cradle to gate. So all the steps afterwards is then more specific. So that would be one thing you could do. I'm not an LCA expert, so how to make LCA simpler, I don't know. But it would be very welcome, that's for sure.
Thank you for the answer. This is a good answer. No, but we can talk about the eco-calculator a bit later.
Just to add also that CO2 emissions can be also probably strongly reduced by introducing remote services if it comes to the machine during the setup phase, but also during the breakdown. So we can, and this is the decision of the end user, from the IT department of the end user to authorize the remote access to the machines for the machine builder as well as for the machine equipment manufacturer. And this can also help reducing the CO2 emission by avoiding too many travels of service engineers around the world.
Thank you, Cyril.
I'd like to add to that. So I think earlier we was talking about transparency. I think as far as those tools, and there are several tools out on the market that's available to help you, but a lot of those tools are based on assumption because there's a lack of transparency in the supply chain. So a lot of that information can be used as qualitative data, but I think as we integrated some more integrated practices across the supply chain will help to give us more better information that develop tools that can give us quantitative data.
Thank you, Marine. The last, probably one of the last questions, but go ahead. There is one question. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Owen. I develop AI for inspection of composite materials. Regarding recycling materials, a concern I hear is that many companies do not trust the quality of such materials, and how do we mitigate this concern?
Your question is more on the trust of the sustainable material?
That is correct.
Okay. So who would like to comment on this? You need a green label.
Do you speak about how we can manage the different batches of material today during the recycling? Is that?
More like the mechanical properties of sustainable materials and the reliability of such materials.
Okay, yeah, for that I think we need to develop some technologies which could develop some homogeneous materials, and repeatable material is very important. For example, if we want to reuse the material in aerospace, if we don't have an homogeneous material, it's impossible to achieve certification and qualification. So the choice of the process is very, very important, and the development also.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Super. So we are getting close to the session, or the very last, very last. So to Stella. Then we can continue the debate out of the room.
Thank you for giving me a second chance. Very different question. To mention to this guy, I would look up Raffinex and stochastic modeling. I think you'd find that very interesting. Design for sustainability came up a lot of times, in integrating sustainability into the design at the earliest stages. I'm very keen to see methodologies for that put into practice. Life cycle assessment is just one part of it. There's also things like stochastic modeling and dealing with uncertainty. There's design for disassembly. There's looking at the business models and how they incentivize sustainability. There's a whole range of different things. And I would be really interested to know if any of the panelists, actually anybody here, has methodologies that they've developed to look at that, because we started to develop that in Fly Zero. You can find that in the Composites UK Sustainability Good Practice Guide and in some of the Fly Zero documentation. I would really like to understand what other people are doing in that area.
Hi, my name's Kevin Gall from Velix. As of Friday, I won't be from Velix because they have a sustainability effort that they were seeking to cut 50% of their carbon dioxide footprint by 2030, a seemingly achievable goal. And they've been trying to do it for the last 3 years, and they have a fundamental issue. And if this isn't a solution, this is something not to do. So if you do not incentivize all of your employees, and by all of them, I mean all of them, the technicians, the supplier managers, the professional management, the engineers, everyone. It's all empty promises, because if they don't have an evaluation on their key performance parameters as defined by their job, they will do as they do, as little as possible, or they will avoid efforts that will compromise their ability to do anything sustainable, because they typically weren't hired for sustainability. Their skill set did not include sustainability. they're learning on the job, and they're not being rewarded for it if they're not being evaluated and graded on it. And you have to affect their salary and make it personal.
Okay, I'm.
Thank
Excuse
you.
me, sir, because we are running out.
That's
in
it.
the
That's
time.
all I have to say. You have
Thank
to
you
make
very
it
much
personal.
for your input, your personal input on this. Just to wrap up the discussion today, and thank you again for this. So I think, thank you very much for the panelists, because all together you demonstrated you are in the different aspect in the supply chain, and that there is already sustainability manufacturing is real, is in place now for several years, and you demonstrated over your different inputs and companies. And which I like also is that the future is bright, whatever is the debate, but there is confidence and there is solutions. So I see a very active work from the research centers, the industries, and all together. Only all together we will fix it, we will solve it, and we have to change the mentalities. I like the few words I said, the transparency of the supply chain, which also is the same to demonstrate how you produce and how you can reuse a material, which is very important. And also the passive industry is something passive house tells me something, but the passive industry, I even did not think about that. I think it's where we can work together. So there is a future, and that's very good. So thank you again for your time today, and thank you the whole audience participating to this Less is Better, which is possible.